Hello everyone, this is Jama Malmi, and today I'm going to show you how to put together this 2-page Halloween layout from close to my heart's newest Cricut collection called Complete Creativity. Now, I altered this layout just a little bit, but it comes pre-designed and it's ready to cut right out of the gate. So I'm going to show you how to pull it up in Design Space, and I'll show you what it looks like. This is my file that I altered a little bit, but it is so easy to open up the file and just cut if you don't want to make any customizations. So I'm in this file and I'm going to stay in this file because then we're going to compare what I did to change my layout. So I'm just going to go to images, just like you would pull in any image from Cricut, from the Cricut Access or from any of the images that you own. And then I am going to go to cartridges, and I am going to go to, I'm going to search. If I just type in complete, then it will turn up the Complete Creativity, and it shows you some of these. Oh, there we go, we're bright now. It shows you some of these images, or some of these complete projects that are, each of them is seen as an image in Design Space, but they're complete projects. So it all comes grouped together when you open it. So you see there's 24 images, but they're saying an image is, for example, this whole card. And that's so cute, this whole layout, this whole card. And there are lots of them. This can be a card, or there are also 6x8 layouts for it. So if you do like a smaller mini album, you could do that. This is a 12x12. This could also be scaled up to a 12x12 or an 8.5x11. And in other videos, I'm going to be showing you how to adjust the images to work for different sizes. There's this adorable Christmas layout. I did a video on this thankful one already. And so here's what we're going to do right here. I'm just going to tap that just like you would any image that you're going to bring into your design mat. Insert image. And there you go. It's all there. It's all grouped together already. It just doesn't have the background because the background I added just to show me what it's going to look like with the color cardstock I want to use to back it. And I liked the black, so I added a black background to see what it's going to look like. But you can't actually cut the black background, so I have to remember before I cut to come all the way down here, and it tells you this little warning sign. I have to actually turn off, so click the little eyeball so you don't see it, turn off the background, but I like to see it before I cut. So let's make this a little bit smaller so we can compare. Let's see, I can't make it in between the two. All right, so I'll bring it really close. So you can see I added 2 more photo spots here. So these are little journaling spots, and I replaced that with photos. I moved the spooky up there so it says Happy Spooky Halloween, and moved the journaling over here instead of here because I wanted to add more photos. I like to have a lot of photos in my layouts. And then over here, I kept it pretty much the same. I added, let's see, another star here, another star there. I changed the background of my mats on all of them to purple. And then I added more stars throughout. So I did very minor changes, but I customized it just how I wanted, and that was very easy to do. But if you just wanted to do it exactly as you see it here, then it's all designed for you, and you don't have to do anything. All you have to do is cut it. Super easy. The other great thing about this is, like these pumpkins, for example, I'm going to be showing you in future videos how to use these pumpkins on multiple projects. So they are part of this layout, but let's see, I've got everything grouped, or it comes everything grouped, so you just go to ungroup. So over here, I hit ungroup, and then you've got individual elements. and each of these is a different layer, and you can move them around. So these two pumpkins stay together, and unfortunately you can't ungroup them further, but you can slice them to be two separate pumpkins, and I did that up in my other layout. This one is on its own. So all of the white pieces are all one thing. Each of these, the colors are grouped together. You can use these spider webs on any layout. So very versatile. The stars you can use on anything. So it's more than a layout. You can use all of the multiple elements of the layout on anything else. So it's a super versatile collection, and I've been having lots of fun with it. I've shared several videos already, and I will be sharing more, but let's get to designing or putting this layout together. So I am going to speed this up now, and you can watch my process, and I hope you enjoy. So I had all of my pieces laid out how I wanted them, and now I'm going to remove everything so that I can adhere the spider web to the background. Now this was the trickiest part of the layout. I'm not going to lie, it was a little tricky to get all those little tiny lines with glue on them and then lay it down straight. I did find, I tried two different glues. So this first page I used the liquid glass with the fine tip applicator on it. And the trouble I had with that is that because I had to do such a thin line of the liquid glass so it didn't ooze out, it dried faster than I could get to laying it down. So the middle portion glued down okay, and I'm just going around the edges to adhere those down better. And so if you're going to use liquid glass, I'd suggest just putting it on the inside spiderweb portion and just leaving the outside, and then go around and do that last, because that ended up working just fine. Now I am using a glue pen to adhere the spookie on, and that worked just fine. I really like the glue pen, and unfortunately it's discontinued through Close to My Heart. The manufacturer discontinued it. You can probably still find it in a store near you or online, I'm not sure where. But if you do have one in your stash, that worked well. I did alternate to different glues, and I'll explain which ones worked better and why. So here I'm trying the glue pen again. It did not work as well as the liquid glass. So I went back to the liquid glass to adhere all of these outlines around Halloween. And that was my preferred method for gluing down all of these little pieces. It just seemed to work a little better. So I had my tablet up so that I could see at a glance which colors went over which letters. Pay attention to make sure that you're putting them on the back side and not on the front side. I've made that mistake before on a different layout, and it's easy to do when you're just kind of in the moment working on it. So just take a moment to make sure you're putting it on the right side. For the paper I'm using on Halloween, I used an old cardstock pack, front and back of a sunset color. And the front, it has a very subtle UV pattern on it, and the back has that same pattern in white and sunset. And I liked how that looked. So I'm finished with Halloween, and now I'm going to assemble this layout, or this side of the layout, together. For the, let's see, once I get it all in place, I'm trying to remember what I'm going to do next, so I don't want to speak ahead of time. Okay, so I'm using just my ATG to glue down the photo spots. It's a nice strong adhesive. And then I'm going to go to the spookie, which has a background. It's not as delicate, so I used the ATG. For the happy, I used a dot adhesive, and that worked well because the dots could just cover the skinnier portions that I needed. I didn't need to do something as skinny or intricate as the liquid glass. The dot adhesive worked well for that. And the ATG worked well to adhere Halloween down, because those were sturdy once they were all assembled together. I started with the OWE, which is one piece, and was kind of in the middle, and then I worked my way out. And then for the little journaling spots, I used the ATG in the middle, and then I used my glue pin around those skinny little outsides. And now on this second one, I tore that delicate little outside when I was pulling the ATG glue across. So I was able to salvage it and just kind of glue it back in place how it was supposed to go, and you'll never know. So I did that for all the journaling spots. Just be careful that you're kind of gentle. The dot adhesive also would work for that because it's a little bit gentler going on. Now for the right side, I'm going to assemble the pumpkins and all the pieces first before I glue that spider web down. So this pumpkin was a little bit tricky to get those kind of middle layers on because they were not quite big enough to go to glue directly onto the overlay. So I was able to put the overlay on first, and then those two pieces on the left tucked just right inside. They were the same size as the opening, but the one on the right was not quite the same size as the opening, so then I ended up kind of tucking that under. The second pumpkin, I decided not to use the layered pieces. I just did that overlay to kind of have some variation in the colors of the pumpkins. And then the third pumpkin, I decided to put that second layer down first and kind of line it up with the overlay and glue those down before I glued the overlay down. And that seemed to work the best for me. If you're going to use the overlay, I don't think you even need, or if you're going to use those centerpieces, I don't think you even need that second layer. It is a nice touch to have some extra like kind of dimension, but it looks super cute and is a little more simple without that second layer as well. I use the dot glue for gluing down those little banners that have the intricate words in there. And I use the dot runner also for gluing down these photo holders, only because I want to be able to remove them when I put my photos down. I'm not sure if I'm going to put the photos right onto the purple or if I'm going to mat them in the white. So I wanted to be able to remove them if I needed to. Now, this spiderweb got torn on my Cricut because my mat was not sticky enough in one of the little corners, and it lifted as it was cutting. Luckily, it wasn't too bad. I was able to salvage it because it does take a whole sheet of cardstock. And so I performed a little bit of surgery. I took a little tiny piece from another part of the web that's not going to be showing. I snipped it off, and then I'm going to be putting it back in the place where that missing little piece of the web should go. And it's not too noticeable, and you'll see I'm gonna cover most of it anyway. For putting that web down, I used the glue pen instead of the liquid glass, which I used on the first side. And I think I like the glue pen a little bit better. It stays tacky for a little bit longer. Even once it's kind of dry, it still has some tackiness to it. So I felt like it stayed wet and sticky enough longer for this particular overlay. But there's also not as much web, so if you use the liquid glass, you could just kind of go underneath once you put it on, again, like I showed in the first side. So putting all of the little pieces together now for the two pumpkins that are covering the photo mats, I used some 3D foam tape, and I didn't put any tape over where the photos are going to be, so I could just slide the photos underneath the pumpkins, and they've got some fun dimension. Now I'm adding all of the yellow stars. I cut out extra stars than were originally in the layout. And then I'm also going to be adding some sequins as well. I adhered the stars with liquid glass because I just had that out already, and it was handy to just put a little dot and put the star down. I wanted to also address, I've had some people ask if using the liquid glass, since it's a liquid glue, if I've had any trouble with the paper curling when I use it, and I haven't. That could partially be due to the fact that Close to My Heart's cardstock that I use is a very good quality, sturdy cardstock. And so it just doesn't, I just haven't had the trouble with it warping or curling. So I added all the sequins also with liquid glass, and now I'm going over Happy and the stars with my trusty shimmer brush because I have to add shimmer brush on everything, and it's really hard to catch in the light. I didn't get a very good, I didn't catch it very well on here, I'm sorry, but it adds, the stars especially, it's a nice little glow that it adds. So that is the finished 2-page layout. I hope you enjoyed this. If you're interested in purchasing this collection, there are 24 projects, layouts, and cards included in the collection. I have the link below. It will be my affiliate link straight to Cricut's website where you can download it and use it immediately. I don't get notified when there's a purchase though, so if you do purchase it, leave me a comment and I would love to thank you properly and send you a handmade card for doing so. Thanks so much for watching, and if you enjoyed this, please subscribe and hit that little bell when you so you get a notification whenever I post something, because I'm going to be posting lots more of these Cricut layouts. They're so fun. Thank you again and have a great day.